Mr. President, are you going to sue Trevor Noah? Last night in a post, you alluded that something could be coming.
Yeah, well, he said that I spent time on Jeffrey Epstein's island. I didn't. I mean, he's a lightweight, this guy. He's a terrible, I think he's terrible. I thought he did a terrible job at the Grammys. I thought the whole Grammys was terrible. I watched part of it. It's not watchable. But he was a lousy host. I'd say not as bad as Jimmy Kimmel, but pretty close. And no, he made a statement about me and Jeffrey Epstein. I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact...
In recent days, a heated controversy has erupted surrounding comedian Trevor Noah's recent Grammy comment, which has ignited reactions across the political spectrum. At the heart of this debate are Noah's sharp comments targeting former President Donald Trump, his alleged connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and the broader implications of government transparency and accountability. Today, we delve into the details of this incident, examining what Noah said, how Trump responded, and what critics and the public are saying about this escalating saga. Trevor Noah's monologue, delivered during a recent episode of his popular show, was nothing short of provocative. Noah didn't hold back. He focused heavily on the ongoing controversy surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier whose name remains synonymous with elite pedophilia and conspiracy theories. Noah pointed out that despite years of public scrutiny, the full extent of Epstein's network and the involvement of powerful figures still remains shrouded in secrecy. He made a pointed remark about the Department of Justice's handling of Epstein's files, emphasizing that only a fraction, roughly 50%, of the more than 3 million pages of documents had been released. Noah questioned the motives behind this partial disclosure, arguing that it suggests a cover-up designed to protect wealthy and influential individuals who might have been involved in Epstein's illegal activities. But the crux of Noah's critique was aimed squarely at Donald Trump. He referenced the fact that Trump, during his presidency, dismissed the Epstein scandal as not a big deal, and that his administration seemed more interested in downplaying or concealing the full scope of Epstein's connections rather than exposing them. Noah implied that Trump's dismissive attitude and the lack of transparency point to a deeper collusion or at least a mutual interest in hiding the truth.
I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein. This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
Specifically, Noah suggested that Trump's public statements and behavior could be interpreted as evasive. For example, Noah highlighted that Trump's former Attorney General, William Barr, had publicly acknowledged that the DOJ was aware of Epstein's crimes but had failed to fully pursue powerful elites connected to him. Noah pointed out that the files released so far contain disturbing revelations, but the fact that so much remains redacted fuels suspicion. He emphasized that Trump's own conduct, such as hosting Epstein at Mar-a-Lago and publicly associating with Epstein's circle, raises serious questions. Noah argued that if Trump truly had nothing to hide, he would welcome full transparency and not threaten to sue media outlets or comedians for joking about his past associations. In response, Donald Trump took to social media with a dismissive and defensive tone. He called Noah a lightweight and criticized his performance at the Grammys, claiming Noah was terrible as a host. But more pointedly, Trump dismissed Noah's Epstein jokes, asserting that he had nothing to do with Epstein and that the accusations against him were fake news. Trump's response also included a veiled warning that he might consider legal action against Noah for defamation. Trump's allies echoed this sentiment, framing Noah's comments as an attack on his reputation. But critics argue that Trump's reaction is more about avoiding accountability than defending his honor. They point out that Trump's past associations and documented visits to Epstein's properties are well known, making his denial seem disingenuous.
That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with.
Trevor Noah targeting Donald Trump during his sixth and final time as Grammys host, and now the president is threatening legal action. The Daily Show alum slamming the commander-in-chief a total of 4 times throughout the 3.5-hour broadcast.
If we edited any of this show, the president would sue CBS for $16 billion.
I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby.
Adding fuel to the fire, Noah didn't limit his critique to Epstein. He also addressed the immigration policies enforced by the Trump administration, particularly the actions of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Noah highlighted how Trump's government used aggressive tactics, detention centers, and family separations, which drew widespread condemnation as human rights violations. He argued that these policies are part of a larger culture war, one that pits patriotic nationalism against progressive values. Critics on both sides have accused Noah of engaging in political bias, but many agree that his commentary shines a spotlight on systemic issues of corruption, abuse of power, and lack of transparency. The reactions from the public and critics have been polarized. Supporters of Noah's stance praise him for courageously holding powerful figures accountable. They argue that exposing the potential cover-up surrounding Epstein and criticizing Trump's evasiveness is a necessary step toward transparency. On the other hand, Trump supporters and some conservative commentators dismiss Noah's comments as liberal bias and political grandstanding. They argue that Noah's jokes are baseless and that the focus should be on real policy issues instead of speculation about Epstein or personal attacks. Legal experts and media watchdogs have also weighed in. Many point out that Trump's threatened lawsuits are unlikely to succeed, especially given that Noah's comments are protected speech under the First Amendment and are framed as satire and commentary. They emphasize that the high bar for defamation, especially against a public figure, means Trump would need to prove actual malice and damages, which seems improbable. Adding fuel to the fire, Noah didn't limit his critique to Epstein. He also addressed the immigration policies enforced by the Trump administration, particularly the actions of immigratist progressive values. Critics on both sides have accused Noah of engaging in political bias, but many agree that his commentary shines a spotlight on systemic issues of corruption, abuse of power, and lack of transparency. Many analysts argue that the government's reluctance to release all files is not just about protecting reputations, but about shielding powerful interests from accountability. The current situation is reminiscent of broader systemic issues where justice is often delayed or obstructed when it involves the wealthy and influential. From a legal standpoint, the possibility of Trump suing Noah appears unlikely to succeed. Experts note that Noah's jokes and commentary are protected under free speech laws, especially since they are framed within the context of satire. Furthermore, the burden of proof for actual malice, knowing falsehood or reckless disregard, would be difficult to establish. Politically, this controversy amplifies ongoing debates about free speech, accountability, and the abuse of power. It also highlights how figures like Trump continue to wield influence over the narrative, often dismissing inconvenient truths as fake news or fake scandals. Among critics, many see Noah's remarks as a necessary critique of a system riddled with secrecy and corruption. They argue that comedians and journalists serve an essential role in holding the powerful accountable, especially when official channels fall short. Conversely, some conservatives claim that Noah's comments are divisive and contribute to political polarization. They argue that personal attacks and jokes don't serve the national interest and distract from substantive policy debates.